The DNA analyzer will tell you. Derek's hair on the broken rake handle. Well, it's just an ordinary, everyday scorecard. It's illegal gambling, high-stakes poker, the kind of pot that makes a CSI's yearly salary look like nickel-dime. So how exactly is Carla getting her marriage back on track? And who's this other guy? So Carla takes out an insurance policy to protect the kids she and Derek didn't have. With her husband worth more dead than alive, and a new boyfriend on the horizon, well, look up motive in Webster's and it'll refer you to this. Let's run this evidence by Captain Brass. We've done all we can with that item. You can run that on the chemical analyzer. Odorless, tasteless, poisonous. Lethal dose is only 1/100th of an ounce.
Yes, shape of the wound, nature of the blunt instrument, Vic's hair. This rake handle is consistent with a head wound. Now I know what we're dealing with. I can safely say cause of death is poisoning by sodium monofluoroacetate, compound 10A. The toxic effects of SFMA usually happen within minutes of it. Typically, death results from ventricular tachycardia or heart fibrillation. Layman's term, Grissom wants you in the...
So, cause of death was determined to be pesticide. The Vic smoked it on his walkabout and dropped dead. But it's playing havoc with our Trinity. We don't have anyone to physically match to the crime scene.
You said it yourself. He died in the desert, potentially alone, but he was killed by poison. So what should you be looking for now?
A second crime scene, where the poison was originally mixed into the tobacco. And that's where we will find evidence linking the suspect to that crime scene.
Nicely reasoned, Greg. Now follow through.
Well, if that isn't wonderful news. Here at the house all day. Mr. Astor, my contractor, stopped by briefly, then left. I saw my son that afternoon. We spoke briefly in the garage as he was picking up his camping gear, which had been in storage there for months. I never touched any of it, by the way. Then he was on his way. Really quite unremarkable, except for the fact that I would never see him alive again.
Pesticide safety. A consumer's... Oh, somebody... You'll want a different... This must be where Derek's... Way to be thorough. You don't quite have a match there. Emily must have known all about the pest. This tracks. We know Lou brought... We've done all... You can run that on. Derek's mom definitely had access to the pesticide in her garage, and she could easily have doctored his tobacco when he stopped by.
Mama has a book on pesticides, as well as the killer powder in her house when her son stopped by. Let's hear her story.
Why wouldn't I if I planned to have that vile substance around? My garage was rat-infested and I meant to do something about it. Is killing rats a crime in Las Vegas?
No, unless the rat was a big one, named Derek, who had come around to pick up his camping gear. You knew he was coming over. So you manipulated your contractor friend Astor to bring you some pesticide. While Derek is distracted, you poison his tobacco. A dose perfect for seeing to it his desert camping expedition is his last.
Is that how you solve crimes, Captain Brass? Spin conjecture all day? I never touched that. Now, if you're quite finished with wasting my time...
You should have handed that over earlier.
Well, I thought it was just trash at the time, but...
We will, but...
Well, as I say, the receipt had been in...
I've told you all I can.
Looks like this... You'll want a different... Smells like tobacco. Derek's been gone for a week. Not quite. Unusual spot.
The Vic's wife bought tobacco. You found pesticide mixed in tobacco in her kitchen, which is a perfect recipe for bringing her in.
Well, it was a gift, of course. Smoking was the one vice Derek had that I...
Special meaning. And you especially made sure...
I really have no idea what you're getting.
Same unique blend that killed your husband.
Well, that is odd, I admit.
This was odorless.
Spare me your... I didn't touch any jar, and I have... Just like I said before, he got up and... Then we were eating and... Wait. Do what you have to...
You can't play the loyal wife who had just turned her wayward husband around when this tragedy happened.
I was going to end it. The affair, I mean. You're wrong. I loved my husband. You're wasting time going down the wrong road. My theory is that ball-breaking mother of his is in on it with Astor.
Well, it wasn't Mom's prints on the jar lid. It was yours. And she didn't buy the tobacco. You did. Just like she didn't mix the poison.
You didn't find out at the last second about your husband's camping trip. You knew in advance. which is why you bought the tobacco the day before, giving you plenty of time to mix it with pesticide, and send him off to the desert to die.
But you dropped the lid and couldn't get to it. So, to throw off suspicion, you called contractor Lou Astor and had him collect his materials and haul them away before your husband left.
You want a confession? You're not going to get one. I'm an attorney and I know my rights. And incidentally, I'm innocent. I didn't need the money, and I loved him despite his faults.
Maybe at one time, and whether you needed his money or not, what wife could sit there while her husband gambled away a trust fund? Here he is married to a beautiful woman like you, and he throws his money away on strippers.
But Mrs. Mitchell, Carla, why not just divorce the guy?
I'm not saying another word.
Didn't you know, Greg? Carla's a Catholic, and divorce is a sin. Anyway, a divorce settlement wouldn't have meant squat with that trust fund whittled away. But $500,000 in life insurance could make up for a lot of indignities.
I'll see you in court. You'll love it. I'll defend myself.
Perfect. And like the old saying goes, you'll have a fool for a client.
The tragedy of marriage, a wag once said, is that all women marry thinking their man will change, and all men marry believing their wives will never change. And both are wrong. For Carla Mitchell, marriage was built on trust. A trust fund, that is. When she saw it melt away, she sought a new policy, life insurance. Her poison of choice was tasteless and odorless, but not invisible, to the eyes of science at least. You did well.